Hello friends, welcome to this online refresher course in education under ARPIT 2019. ARPIT stands for Annual Refresher Program in Teaching, and it is a flagship scheme of Ministry of Human Resource Development, that is MHRD, Government of India. The title of this course is Concerns in Educational Research and Assessment. I am Kaushal Kishore from School of Education, Central University of South Bihar, Gaya. I am extending my greetings to you all on behalf of National Resource Center for Education, that is NRC for Education. I am happy to share that this is the second course of our NRC. The first course has been successfully completed under ARPIT 2018. I congratulate you all for joining this course under ARPIT 2019 and being part of this national endeavor. The present discussion is a part of second headway of this refresher course, and the second headway is concerns in assessment, which will broadly focus on test construction and standardization for measuring educational variables. In fact, as a researcher, time and again we all need to construct and standardize tests to collect data related to different variables in our research. Under this headway, we will discuss about the nitty-gritties of construction and standardization of a test. In fact, the concept of test construction and standardization will be discussed in three parts, that are basics of test construction, item analysis, and establishing reliability and validity. The portion of item analysis shall contain three subparts, that will be item analysis for objective type achievement test, item analysis for attitude scale, and item analysis for criterion referenced achievement test. First, we will start with the topic basics of test construction. Before moving ahead, let me make it clear here that this course is basically designed for the teachers by considering their acquaintance with related fundamental concepts and terms. However, if in case someone is completely new to the topic, she or he is advised to go through the web resources and reference books provided and write or raise her or his query to us without any hesitation. We will always welcome that. So, the objectives of this first session are that after completing the session, you will be able to describe the steps to be followed in construction of a standardized test, differentiate among pre-tryout and final tryout, recall concepts of various related terms like test, item, subject, etc. You will be able to plan a test and be prepared to construct a standardized test. You will be able to explain the procedure to start constructing a standardized test. Now, let us start with our topic. First, let us have a quick review of some related terms like test, item, etc. We will review these terms as discussed by Kaplan and Sakuzo in their book Psychological Testing and Assessment in 2009. What is a test? They define a test that a test is a measurement device or technique used to quantify behavior that requires to be quantified. in understanding and prediction of behavior. Further, they define what is an item. An item is a specific stimulus to which a person responds overtly, and this response can be scored or evaluated. This means, with the help of items in a test, we quantify the behavior of a human being. In simple terms, items are specific questions or problems that make up a test. It means items are the units of a test. Thus, a psychological or educational test is a set of items that are designed to measure characteristics of human beings that pertain to behavior. And this behavior may be overt or covert. Overt behavior is an individual's observable activity, whereas covert behavior takes place within an individual and cannot be directly observed. So, if I conclude, then I can say that the tests are devices used to translate the observations of behavior into numbers. One more term is subject that we will use frequently in this presentation. Here the term subject is referred to an individual which is used as an examinee for administration of a test. With the help of the test, we want to measure or quantify the behavior of a subject. Now, as you know that tests may be classified into various categories on the basis of different criteria. Like on the basis of administration, there may be group tests or individual tests. On the basis of evaluation, there may be subjective tests or objective tests, etc. One such classification is on the basis of standardization. On the basis of standardization, tests are classified into two categories, and these two categories are standardized tests and teacher made tests. Most of you already know the process of construction of a teacher made test, and you use or made them by using table of specifications or blueprint. In this course, we will focus upon construction of standardized test only. In educational researches, most of the time we are in need of three major types of standardized tests or tools. Number one is objective type achievement or ability like intelligence test. These tests contain fixed answer type items. It means their answers are fixed, either they are right or they are wrong. These tests are generally used for norm referenced interpretation. Number two, scales for measurement of attitude or personality. And in these tests, no answer is treated as right or wrong. Rather, the respondents or subjects are expected to express what they feel or think. These tests are also generally used for non-reference interpretation. I am talking about particularly educational research. Otherwise, these tests may be used for criterion reference interpretation as well. And number three, achievement tests, which are used for criterion reference interpretation. In this course, we will discuss about the process of construction of all these three types of standardized tests. In fact, the steps to be followed in construction of these three standardized tests are common. Then, what is the difference? The difference lies in one step of test construction only, and that is the procedure of item analysis. The item analysis for these tests is carried out differently for first type of test, that was achievement test, differently for second type of test, that was attitude scale, different for third type of test, that is criterion reference test. Let us start with the steps for construction of a standardized test. For construction and standardization of a test, different experts have given steps for test construction. The steps given by them may differ in number, but they all endorse a common procedure. For example, Singh in his book in 2006 has enlisted the general steps of test construction like number 1 planning of the test, number 2 writing items of the test, number 3 preliminary administration or the experimental tryout of the test, number 4 reliability of the final test, number 5 validity of the final test, number 6 preparation of norms for the final test, number 7 preparation of manual and reproduction of the test. Whereas, Price in 2007 in his book has also summarized the test development process in different steps, like number 1 articulate a philosophical or theoretical foundation for the test or instrument, number 2 identify the purpose of the test, number 3 select the behavior or attributes reflective of the construct, number 4 identify the testing audience or population, number 5 define or delineate the content that the items will include, number 6 write the test items, number 7 develop test administration procedures, number 8 conduct pilot test with representative sample, number 9 conduct item analysis, number 10 revise test, number 11 validation studies, number 12 develop norms or other standard scores, number 13 develop the technical manual. If you compare the steps given by Singh and given by Price, you will find that both are talking about the same procedure. The difference is that Price has given more details within the steps. So, now on the basis of different experts and for ease of understanding, we shall follow the steps for construction and standardized and we will plan accordingly, and the steps will be number 1 planning of the test, number 2 defining the construct, number 3 writing the items, number 4 first administration or pre-tryout, number 5 second administration or tryout and it will be for item analysis, number 6 third administration, that is dress rehearsal for validity etc., number 7 developing norms of the final test if required, and number 8 preparing manual. If you notice in the step number 7, that is developing norms for the final test, I have used term if required. Why? Norms are defined as the average performance or score of the population or its representative large sample. They are required to interpret the scores obtained on a test, and there is a disagreement among the psychologists that whether a standardized test must have the norms necessarily or not. Some people say that norms are not required for a standardized test, whereas some say that norms are mandatorily required for a standardized test. Like according to Kronbeck, a test even without norms may be called a standardized test. However, the majority of psychologists favor the idea that a standardized test should have norms as well. That is why I have used term if required. So, it will be decided by requirement of the test and it will be decided by the test constructor. Okay. Let us move step by step. Number 1 step is planning of the test. Now, you keep this thing in mind that during the whole discussion of test construction in this presentation or in this discussion, we will follow the steps that we concluded after discussing steps given by Price and after discussing steps given by Singh. So, we concluded our steps and we are going to follow those steps. According to that, number 1 is planning of the test. Planning of the test is the very first step in development of any test. The moment you start thinking about need of development of a test, the planning starts. This step includes in a way first 5 steps suggested by Price as discussed earlier. Singh in 2006 said that at this stage that is planning of the test, the test constructor specifies the broad and specific objectives of the test on clear terms. The test constructor decides upon the nature of the content or items to be included, the type of instruction to be included, the method of sampling, a detailed arrangement for the preliminary administration and the final administration, a probable length and time limit for completion of the test, a probable statistical method to be adopted, etc. According to him, it also includes the total number of reproductions to be made and a preparation of manual. Thus, during the planning phase of the test, we take care about all the basic things, like for what purpose we are going to make the test, who will be the target subjects, what will be their age group or grade, whether it will be verbal or non-verbal, what will be the medium or language of the test, and so on. Let us take an example. Suppose we want to construct a standardized achievement test, then we need to decide whether the interpretation is primarily intended to be norm referenced or criterion referenced, first thing. Then further we have to decide for which class and which subject we want to make the test. We have to decide how much course content will it cover. Will it be English medium test or Hindi medium test or in any other language? Whether it will be an objective test or subjective test. What will be the form of questions? Like if we are planning to have objective test, then out of selection type or supply type, which type of test item we are going to keep in this? What will be the tentative number of questions and duration of the test? We also plan that from where will we get the target sample for the 3 administrations, etc. So many things we plan in this first step, that is planning of the test. For more details, let us take hypothetical cases of planning of 3 types of tests that we discussed earlier, that we will talk about 3 types of tests during item analysis. Case 1, I planned in such a way that I want to make a norm referenced interpretation intended standardized achievement test for class 9th physics students. So, I decided about the interpretation, I decided about the class and grade, I decided about the subject. Now, the content will be of syllabus of NCERT class 9 physics book. So, I decided about the content and the medium of the test shall be English. I planned that it will be an objective type, that is fixed answer test, and out of the objective type it will contain only selection type items, and out of selection type it will contain only MCQs, that is multiple choice questions with 4 alternatives, and there will be no negative marking for the wrong answers. The approximate number of items in the final form of test shall be 50. I also identified the schools where I shall go for the tryouts and dress rehearsals. So, this was case 1. During all the discussions, you keep these cases in mind. In case if you forget, you kindly go back and see again the cases and then come back. Now, case number 2. I want to make a scale of emotional intelligence to measure secondary school students' emotional intelligence. Now, it is a scale that we talked about type 2 for personality measurement or attitude measurement, there is no fixed answer. And in this second type of test, the final form of the test will contain approximately 30 items of selection type, in which 3 options on a scale like always, sometimes, never will be given. It is worth mentioning here again that out of the 3 options given, it is not like that any one option is correct and others are wrong. So, it is different case than the previous case of achievement test, where only one answer was correct. Again, in this test, case 2, the medium of test will be English. Now, let me take one more case, that is case 3. In this case, I want to make a standardized achievement test for the purpose of criterion reference interpretation. In other words, I want to make a standardized achievement test to test the effectiveness of an instructional method by following a criterion. For this, I have planned that the test will be for English subject of class 7th students. In this form of the content, 5 chapters from the NCERT English book for class 7th will be included. It will be an objective type, it means fixed answer type test items, and it will contain only selection type items, which will be in form of MCQs with 4 alternatives. The approximate number of items in the final form of test shall be 40, and there shall be no negative marking for the wrong answers. So, thus we took 3 cases. Okay, let me quickly review that we took 3 cases till now. Case 1 was for an achievement test with fixed answer type questions for physics students class 9 NCERT syllabus, English medium, 50 questions. Case 2, scale for measuring emotional intelligence, approximate 30 questions in final form with no fixed answers. Case 3, an achievement test for criterion reference interpretation for class 7 English subject students. It is important to note here that in these 3 cases, all the steps of test construction will be similar. The only difference will be in the process of item analysis under the step 5, that is second administration or tryout. Some experts call this administration as final tryout also. So, friends, till now we have discussed about various related terms like test, item, subject, etc. We have noticed what are the steps in constructing a test, and we have completed first step, that is planning of the test, by taking 3 cases. Now, after planning of the test, we will move to the next step, and next step is defining the construct, and we will discuss this next step, that is defining the construct, in next part of our video. So, thank you for watching this video. We will meet in next video. Thank you.